Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you as usual. Welcome aboard, everybody. E2247, it's in the house. Welcome aboard, Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. We also have Lee Grant from Montgomery County, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia, and AVQ, El Senor Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York. We also have in the house Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. And bringing up the rear, I don't see anybody else yet, but we are starting to get all the folks. So get on Twitter. Go ahead and remember, retweet the show on Twitter. We have a great show for you today. How's everybody doing? I trust everybody's doing just fine. It's interesting that today a woman called into the morning show and she said, "I don't trust police officers at all, even when I call them, etc." And we need police. We need good police, but it is true. Calling police is a risk, right? Calling police officers for people of color is a risk. A lot of people don't like to hear that. A lot of people don't like to hear that. But I tell you what, when you read stories like this police shooting, let me go ahead and see if I can police shooting. If I can find it, I just had it on screen. I tell you what, it just Sonia Massey, it just puts a chilling feeling on you. All right, and I hate that we're going to talk politics, etc. But I want to mention this because a lot of times when folks of color talk about police officers and people like, if you're just doing the right thing, all of that kind of stuff, nobody says a thing. But here's a story that really concerns me. Why I never try to have any interactions with police officers at all. I try to solve problems without them. Illinois sheriff deputy charged with murder shot black woman in face after she called police for help. An Illinois sheriff department charged with murder in the death of a black woman shot her in the face during a tense moment over a pot of hot water in her home and then discouraged his partner from trying to save her, authorities said Thursday. The details were in court document filed in support of keeping fired Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson in custody without bond. County Circuit Judge Ryan M. Callahan agreed, denying Grayson pretrial release at a hearing Thursday in Springfield. In a courtroom guarded by dozens of sheriff's deputies with three more patrolling the hall, Kedem described the action the former deputy is accused of as such a departure from the expectations of a civil society. Sonia Massey, 36, was killed at her home in Illinois capital city, about 200 miles, 322 kilometers south of Chicago, after deputies responded to her 911 call about a possible prowler early on July 6th. Prosecutors alleged that after Grayson allowed Massey to move a pot of water heating on the stove and set it on the counter, Grayson then aggressively yelled at Massey over the pot and pulled his 9mm pistol. Massey then put her hands in the air, declared, "I'm sorry," and ducked for cover before being shot in the face. Grayson also discouraged the other deputy from getting his medical kit, prosecutors said. The other deputy still rendered aid and stayed with Miss Massey until medical help arrived. First Assistant State's Attorney Mary Rogers wrote Grayson at no time attempted to render aid to Massey. The 30-year-old Grayson, who is a white, was indicted on charges of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. He pleaded not guilty in his first court appearance Thursday. More than 30 of Massey's family members and their support filled the seats of the courtroom Thursday, several of whom declined to comment afterward. No one argued with state's contention that body camera footage of the incident upheld the first requirement in ordering Grayson detained, that there is a strong presumption that the actions alleged in the indictment occurred. Authorities said they plan to release the body camera. At no point did this defendant show anything but callousness to human life. Defense attorney Dan Foltz argued that Grayson release contending the statement's arguments fell short on other arguments. Fultz said Grayson is not a threat to the community because was compliant and turned himself in within a half hour after his arrest. Not a threat to community. Imagine that. That's what he said. The man just murdered a woman in her, shooting her in her face who called for help. But he's not. It's not the case, right? No, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Anyhow, Cadogan decreed that Massey, weighing about 110 pounds, posed no threat to the 6'3", 228-pound Grayson, who was armed and accompanied by another deputy after shooting her refused to render aid. Sheriff Jack Campbell said Wednesday that Grayson was fired because it is evident that the deputy did not act as a trained accordance with standard. With our badge, we accept enormous responsibility, and if that responsibility is assumed, there should be consequences. Ben Crump, an attorney for the Massey family, said the charges were a step toward justice for Sanjay's long loved ones, especially her children, who endured unimaginable pain and suffering since they were notified of the tragedy. As many as 200 people gathered Wednesday at the Springfield NAACP Milton to express support. Grayson is due back in court on August 26. He has been with Sangamon County Sheriff's Department for 18 months. Think about that, folks. Think about that. You call for help. You call a police officer for help, and you're in the house, and a pot of water is boiling, and you're moving the pot of water off the fire. And he is intimidated by you moving a pot of water. He shouts at you. You frantically you throw your hands up into the air, and he shoots 3 times. I guess he missed twice, but one of the shots hits you in the face. What a shame. What a shame. I tell you something, guys. I'm a professional business owner, a host, software engineer, and like I was talking, I had coffee with Bruce Pollard this morning, and I was telling him about the story this morning. We had a similar story on my show this morning, and I said, every time I see a cop, my heart's right here because it's hard when you know this is a prevalent something that happens all the time, and it does happen all the time, even though you don't hear about it. The life of some is much less important than the life of others, and this one kind of hit me when it ran across my feed. This hit me when it ran across my feed this morning because I am sitting down here. I have a daughter, I've got a wife, and there's myself. And if something is happening here in Kingwood that near my home, do you think I would ever call a cop? If somebody comes to my home, do you think I would ever call a cop? I would try to lock ourselves down till it pass, because I can never know which one of those cops that come into my home will decide that my life has no value. And I am extraordinarily serious about my statement. Michael Rodden says Axios International Court of Justice stated in an advisory opinion published on Friday that Israel's policies and practices in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem amount to annexation of large parts of Palestinian territory. While the legal opinion is non-binding, it's one of the most significant determinations of an international court since the Israel occupation began in 1967. Israeli officials are extremely concerned. The advisory opinion will be used by Western countries, including the U.S., to impose sanctions against settlers, private entities which operate in these settlements, and those sanctions should start immediately. And government itself, the court added that Israel's legislation and measures in the West Bank at East Jerusalem constitute a violation of Convention Against Racial Discrimination. The ICJ stressed that Israeli settlements policy led to violence against Palestinian civilian population. That goes without saying. Michael Rotten also says NBC News journalist Ivan Gershowitz sentenced to 16 years by Russian in court. I read that. You guys can read that story thereafter. Michael Radin also says, figure everyone's going to talk about Trump again as he attempts to rebrand himself as a statement rather than as a vicious liar on revenge. You can't help that. That speech was horrendous last night. I listened to all 93 minutes of it. Let's see if Trump can stay on message for even 2 weeks. He couldn't even stay on message on his written speech last night. The guy has a mental problem. Heck, he might not last 2 days before he's back to truth show talking shit about people he hates. I agree. Melanie Keelan says, we made it. Yes, we did. Michael also said Trump lied that there is a record inflation under President Biden. True. Trump lied about the North Korean missile launches during his presidency. Trump lied about defeating ISIS in a couple of months. Trump lied about the federal judge rule case against him as unconstitutional. Trump lied about immigration, Medicare, and Social Security. Trump lied about his trade deal with China. Donald Trump lied about gas prices. Trump lied about IRS audits. Trump lied about increasing American taxes under Biden. Trump lied about the right to try law. Trump lied about the press coverage of Russian warships near Cuba. Trump lied about military equipment left in Afghanistan. Trump lied about the world at peace during his administration. Trump lied about Venezuela's crime rate and immigration. Trump lied about U.S. crime statistics. The article just keep going, but the point of that is he lied. I trust that. Is that the CNN article that you're talking about, Ratnan? Anyway, I hope that I think that it is. All right, let's continue here. Bridge MCP says Biden campaign manager on Morning Joe, I believe, said Biden's not dropping out. Remember the package, the palace coup to push out Biden and have an outside the rules new primary to bypass Harris isn't coming from the left. Sanders, AOC, and Congressional Black Caucus are sticking with Biden. It's coming from the super wealthy donor whose class are taking advantage of Biden's poor debate coverage to pressure centrists into replacing the ticket with one that won't let the Trump tax cuts for the super wealthy expire. These people will also be fined during a Trump dictatorship. Dan Wetzel, Robert Wright said it would be the donors who want Biden out. I don't know that, but I tell you what, I was talking to Bruce today, and I told him I had to go reread the Constitution because if we have Biden, if we have Biden, Kamala Harris, and something goes with Biden, whether he's incapacitated and she becomes the president, if we don't take over the House, the vice president becomes the vice president becomes the Speaker of the House, is what Bruce said. I have to reread the Constitution to see if there's a process in which you actually go ahead and nominate a vice president. I don't know. I gotta read up on that. All right, let's see. But the fact of the matter is I don't care what they're trying. If for some reason Biden gives in, the nominee has to be Harris. There aren't two ways about it. If Biden goes, the nominee must be Harris. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a piece that I did in Baltimore. The nominee cannot be anyone other than Harris. Okay? It cannot be anyone other than Harris. That is just an absolute statement that if they attempt to do anything otherwise, it's a guaranteed Democratic loss. But here we go with what I discussed with Mark Thompson at Netroots Nation. You know, I was just at the Netroots Nation convention in Baltimore last week, and there I got a chance to interview Mark Thompson. You see Mark Thompson at MSNBC, CNN all the time as a political pundit. And we were talking about what happens if Biden passes the torch to Kamala Harris, or what we pretty much said was that the only person that really he could pass the torch to was Kamala Harris. But we were trying to think about who would make the better vice president. And, you know, Mark had an ingenious idea. He said we should go for broke. It should be a Kamala Harris Whitmer ticket, you know, the governor of Michigan, for which I said, two women, how would that go down? Well, I want you to listen to it, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Give me what's your best guess as to, even though I don't particularly want to talk about it, can Biden really stay on the ticket?
We're going to have to see about this press conference and some things in the days to come, how he presents himself. The debate was a disaster. I think if he stays, it's because there just really is no alternative.
Yeah.
Now, they're looking at Kamala Harris's numbers to see if she can step in, but it's not going to be easy. If it was up to me, though, you'd hand it off to Kamala and make the vice president. And just hear me out. People say, you can't do this, Mark, because it's two women. Kamala Harris, Gretchen Whitmer. If we're going to go down, let's go down in flames, man. Let's go all the way hard.
I never thought about that combination. And you know what? If we've seen two men at a time, why can't we see two women at a time?
And that's what I'm saying. People say, oh, we never done it. But see, the issue right now, let's remember what's really going on. This is Rovember.
Yeah.
Women are going to decide this election. We'll have a role, but women are going to decide it.
Yes.
Let's go hard in the paint.
You know, you just brought up, I never thought about that.
Just go hard. Just go all the way. All this timidity. No willy-nilly. Let's just go hard. Then you draw a distinction between the other side. You have no fear. Just go hard for the people.
I think I'm going to start thinking even further out of the box. Yes. I like that.
And what happens then? I'm listening to MSNBC, and we have Katie Tur with Chuck Todd and John Nichols on her panel discussing what should this new ticket, if Biden passes the torch, look like. And it turns out they had the same idea that my buddy Mark Thompson had. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
There's actually a process here. It's going to be really hard to challenge Harris.
Got it.
For this nomination.
So if she is the nominee, if, who does she pick as a running mate? Who would be the best asset for her? Because I want to talk. I know we want to talk about Andy Bashir.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about Gretchen Whitmer and just the prospect of having two women on a ticket and what that might mean for an electorate like this one in the country. I mean, I think the traditional belief is that women can't win because there's just so much embedded sexism out there, and what happened with Hillary Clinton. But I don't know if that's true.
Somebody who wasn't going to vote. Somebody who says, man, I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman, but then she puts a guy in it, it's okay. That's not how it works. No,
I agree with that.
If the people that aren't going to vote for her aren't going to vote for her. The bottom line is this. I argued back in 2016 that Hillary Clinton should pick Elizabeth Warren as her running mate because she had run against Bernie Sanders. There was a progressive force within the party that was ill at ease, was concerned. I think it would have done a lot to unite the party. And frankly, I think it would have been highly effective.
I'll make
quick point for Andy Bashir.
No. This convention has made the Whitman idea more feasible to me. This is a very bro-ish convention. Okay, JD Vance.
Rock is going to play tonight. We're going to have
Hulk Hogan. Right. This is a very testosterone heavy, ticket. Whitmer, Harris are two tough women. My instinct was like, I don't know if that would work. Against this ticket, it could.
Yep. I think we've had testosterone ruling the country for a long time. And I tell you something, maybe a little bit of estrogen is needed. Maybe we could get knocked into shape if two women took over the reins of this country. If two women went ahead and say, you know what? We are going to show America what it is like, what we should be. After all, around the world, the governments run by women, even during the pandemic, fared quite a bit better in handling that crisis than those led by testosterone. So, you know what, Mark Thompson? It was your idea first. And so I called up Mark yesterday, and texted him, and I said, hey, man, guess who just floated your idea as well? John Nichols and Chuck Todd, a conservative guy and a liberal guy. They actually floated your idea. My brother Scott Fewless, I'm thinking Castro might be a good pick. The problem with bringing in anybody other than Camilla is all the money collected so far. That is the issue, the money collected so far. It has to be Kamala. And the other reason it has to be Kamala is because if you want to piss off a part of the base who was instrumental in getting Biden elected, try If he leaves, try not having her there and watch. It's the thing about it is it would only affect the ticket. It would also affect all the down ballot races because everybody would say, and they would be right. Once again, we're taken for granted. The truth of the matter is, against Trump, especially what we saw yesterday, any young person, and I repeat, because the problem with Biden, I would love Biden. Look, I love Biden, what he's done so far. Have you seen Biden lately? I mean, Biden is. I spoke to somebody today, and again, I just want the Democrats to win, and I don't care who's at the top of the ticket. I honestly don't care. I don't care. I just want all Democrats to win. And he said, "My wife is a professional." My wife said, without examining him, of course, or anything, but again, when you look at his age and his antics and the switch that he's made over the last year, she said that is how end stages begin. Just think about that. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And to which I constantly tell people, open your eyes. Michael says every time an American police officer is called to an incident that introduces a risk that someone will be shot by the police officer, it always feels like a uniquely American problem. That's because it is no other OECD has this problem. E227 said, how did you fare with colossal crowd strike F up this morning? Actually, it wasn't just this morning, E2278. It hit my database, last night. I couldn't get into my cloud last night. Let's see what else we have to say. We are becoming too used to this. Yeah, Breach, we are. Steigen, Bergen Creek says we need to disarm cops and get rid of the Second Amendment. How many have to die? Well, it depends on who dies. That's what it really means. Egberto, I remember one from last year. Hit me, NPR. Adrian Murray, 11. Call 911 for help at his home. Indianapolis, Minnesota, but after the police arrived, that officer shot him in the chest. The boy is recovering, but his family is asking for answers. Yep, I remember that one too as well. Lee Grant says, that's insane, even for someone from Portland. Come on, Lee, not at all. That is not insane at all. It works in other countries very well at that. Question, why are left-wing media shouting off comments while running the... I don't know what you're saying there, Eric. I'm sorry, brother. Love you, but I don't know what you're saying. Bridge MCP said, how many times did he say in conclusion, does her know what that means? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Michael said, yes, Egberto, the CNN fact check article from Trump's acceptance speech is so long that my intro comment only mentioned half the highlights. Thank you for doing that, Radnin. I appreciate that. Paul Fleming says, campaign must focus on Project 2025, as I will be. Which would be undermine professional government, publicize judiciary, deal a blow to Medicaid. By the way, for you, my friend, I want to let you see what our article is about today. If you take a look at it, you see what's number one. New AFL-CIO shows how Trump agenda would be catastrophic for workers. And the title that it says, Project 2025 and AFL-CIO. Every time I can use the word Project 2025, I will. And by the way, Paul, you remember that statement that you left that says Project 2025, Project 2025, Project 2025. Remember when you left that message? That's all you put in the message, brother. It left an indelible impression on me because immediately when I saw the repetition, I remembered that is how the right wing keep its people dumb. They keep repeating the same lie and dumb information over and over. We can make people smart by keep repeating the smart stuff over and over again. So for that, brother Fleming, thank you. Bridge MCP says that combo we lose. I don't know, Bridge. I don't know. Of course, none of us know, right? But I don't know. I honestly don't know. E224 says, Egberto, how did you file with a colossal cold strike? I thought I answered. Did you put that a second time? Or did I just miss it? All right. We also have Paul Fleming says, Joanne Reed, we have spent so much ink in the media covering Biden's performance in a single debate, after which he did speeches, rallies, a 90-minute live press conference with a few stumbles, but nothing like what we saw from Trump tonight. Absolutely not. She's absolutely right. One political strategist texted me, the Trump campaign will likely never let him give another speech if they can help it, because that was bizarre and frankly disturbing. I have so many questions. The problem about it is the people that he made that speech for, they don't care. They don't really care. Alistair Waters, welcome aboard, sis. Too damn many Y chromosome in leadership position. Which is a Y. Yeah, I agree. Tom C. Harris and Buttigieg, best debater versus Trump and Vance. You know what? Those two are, in fact, really the two best debaters. Actually, Buttigieg is top notch on top notch on TV. But hear this. I want to show you how they're gonna spin. It's bad enough two women, right? If we go with we'd have a black Asian white combination woman. So we got three identities there that the Republicans are going to go. Well, not the Republicans, the right wingers are going to go against. But here, what we get with Buttigieg, we get black, Asian, gay. Oh my God, they are going to blow their keisters if we go ahead and do that. Hey, get away, fly, get away. Anyway, think about that. Oh my God. But I do love me some Buttigieg too. Let's see what else we got here. I'll see your dog and raise my turtle. Good one. Mike C. Joanne Reed is a huge conspiracy theorist that is constantly wrong. Really? I don't know that she's constantly wrong. Egberto, Yvette, Michael, we have been run by white men all along. Put women in charge. Listen later. All right, I will. I want women in charge. I am ready to serve. I'm ready to serve. Mike C. says Egberto just wants dictators on the left in power. Okay, if you say so. Gary Haven says, what is your opinion on a Kamala Pete ticket? I think that would be a great ticket as well. I think it would be a great ticket, Kamala Pete. I just think they're going to use the black Indian gay. Can you imagine all the permutations of memes that are going to come out? Obama was bad enough with all the memes they had. Now they can choose from three. Oh my God. Let's see what else we got here. Eric Hayes says, excuses, politics done right with, I don't know what you're saying, Eric. All right, so let's see what we got here. Back, there we go. All right, here we back. Let's see. I got to go to another pretty tape, but let's see. Melanie says, thanks for all of you for keeping me smart. Of course, you're very smart, Melanie. What else have we got? Egberto, we like when the leftists keep mentioning 2025 so they know who aren't. Yep, I love 2025, and we're going to keep pointing it out. Bridge wants something for the screen, and let's go to the screen, but I got to get to another video. But here it is for the screen that Bridge wants, and here we go. Project 2025. Hey, Bridge, thank you for that. I got to hold on to this meme. I love this meme here. I've seen it before. This is just a fragment of Project 2025. Guys, take a look and read it. Take a screenshot, or else also get the link that Bridge has underneath there. All right, I'm continuing. Bruce Pollard said, made it in after the CrowdStrike cleanup. I'm glad you made it in. Anyway, folks, I had some coffee with Bruce today. So I had a coffee with my righty, my conservative dude yesterday. I had coffee with my centrist dude, moderate dude today. I guess on Monday, who is going to be the real left-wing progressive that I'm going to have coffee with? We'll see. Anyhow, I want you to listen to this from Markos Moulitsas, the guy who is the publisher of Daily Kos. I interviewed him in Baltimore.
Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. You know, we do this yearly at the Netroots Convention. This is Netroots 2024. And who am I with? I mean, the founder of all this stuff, man. You know, the founder of Daily Kos, El Señor Markos Moulitsas, man. How you doing, my brother? I was going to
give you a hug, but this hints, I can't do this.
Oh, okay. There we go. How you doing, my man?
Doing good, man.
This guy is the guy who created Daily Kos, and out of Daily Kos came, before it was called Netroots Nation, it was called
Yearly Coast.
Yearly
Which
Kos.
is kind of creepy because that's my name, and I was like,
well,
can we change the name, please?
Well,
and,
you know,
I'm the terrible brander, right? Because a good brander would be like, that's like
yes,
gold. That's gold.
That's gold, man.
I couldn't do it, man.
Well, you know, that just speaks for you being a good guy. He's one of the good ones, you know. But anyway, look, Markos, we're in some difficult times, right? And earlier I was speaking to Mike Rogers of Raw Story and talking about AI, and we're talking about the conflicts within the progressive movement. We're talking about the conflicts within the right-wing movement. I mean, it's just looked like we are a bastion of chaos. Before we really get into what we want to talk about, what's your feeling of what's going on in America? And it's not one-faceted, single-faceted.
Yeah, I think fundamentally politics is broken. So it's a little ironic because when Daily Kos came on the scene, we were representing the partisan left. We saw the media landscape, and you had Rush Limbaugh, and you had Fox News. There was no liberal voices anywhere, and conservative voices dominated the discussion, and even the Democratic Party.
Right.
And so we came in as sort of a counterpart and to create some kind of balance. And as a movement, I think we were wildly successful. We have that balance now. But now the result is utter chaos and division and rank partisanship. And not partisanship in the sense where you're like defending your values, but partisanship in that you're trying to one-up the other party and point out how stupid they are. And yeah, it's too easy. Like somebody said something stupid sometime, right? Great. How do we govern our country? And now we're at a situation where things like continuing resolutions, just to keep the government funded, have become partisan flashpoints and difficult to manage, and putting our country's credit rating at risk and at risk of default on the debt because of debt limit fights, and that is not sustainable. And what's happening is people are tapping out. People are tired. I think they're crawling to the finish line this November, and I absolutely get the sense that no matter who wins, people are ready just to be done.
Right.
They just ready to tap out and get their Taylor Swift news or whatever. And I'm not saying that derogatorily.
No, I know that. It's something easy to understand, something that doesn't take a lot of stress on you.
And we've been in fight or flight mode for 9 years now, since Donald Trump first came on the scene. And it's exhausting and tiring, and there's not a lot of hope. And nobody's looking at these candidates right now and going like, all right, I'm ready to fight for Joe Biden or even for Donald Trump. On the right, you see a lot of dissension with even Donald Trump.
Right.
Now, there's a sense that you have to fight for the team because the alternative is worse. And that's why I think that actually we have the upper hand in November because we have our rights are on the line. The conservatives really, I don't know what's the worst case that can happen if they lose? Like nothing, right?
Because the things that progressive promotes is not just for progressive, it's for everybody, right?
So don't make up stuff like Dr. Seuss nonsense or like culture war. But really, there's nothing at stake.
I'm glad you said something. Oh, wait, go ahead. But
ultimately, I think people are feeling burnt out. And on the right, people are feeling burnt out because the Donald Trump movement is just horrible. They recognize this, right? And this is why Nikki Haley was getting 30, 40% of the vote in some places.
Imagine that.
But on the left too, it's if you're a normal Democrat, I live in the suburbs and I have my life and my kids, but I care about abortion rights and I care about the tenor of the president, like somebody who's not Donald Trump. I'm fighting the system, right? The system is so effed against people, and the Supreme Court's made it even worse now, right? Supreme Court's just like
it's not a Supreme Court anymore.
No, they're kings. They're kings, and they're overruling the legislature. It's absolute. So there's a feeling. There's always been the feeling that we're fighting against the system. You look to the right, you see a fascist right. It used to be Mitt Romney. He wants tax cuts for billionaires. It's like, oh, that'd be shitty. But that's like the end of it. Now we're like, democracy's on the line.
Right.
But also, you look at the left, and you have sort of this. I call it the performative left. It's not the best word. I still haven't figured out how to really describe it. But people that would...
Wait. I need to interrupt you. I think that word defines it perfectly because they perform. It's not like we support a whole lot of things like, oh, we are anti-racism, we are anti-LGBT, all that kind of stuff. But when internally, or we are feminists, when internally a lot of times we don't support women. A lot of times we don't support people of color, even within our own party. So, I mean, when you say performative, yeah, we perform like we're doing things well.
It's based on, I feel better because I went out and I protested, whatever.
Right, exactly.
And I said that I wrote a book back during the Iraq War where I said the same thing.
Yes.
That performative, like all these protests, what did they stop the war? Did they do anything? No, George Bush got reelected.
Guys, you got to remember, by the way, that book that he's talking about is called The American Taliban. The American Taliban. I remember that well.
And so this notion that protesting does something is unless it has a strategy behind it.
Right.
So you look at the three most successful progressive movements in the last, the civil rights movement, very tactical.
Right.
Very tactical. The marriage equality movement.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They protested, but it's all within building support, right? And then the $15 minimum wage.
Yes.
Very, very successful. They're not out there pissing people off, shutting down bridges, yelling at passerbyers. Their whole way of doing work is how we can use protests to build awareness, but it's got to be done in a way that people want to join.
You have to have an off-ramp. Yeah, right.
And when you're doing it out of anger,
right,
just to feel better, you lose sight of that broader strategy, right?
Right.
And so, to me, that's why it's performative. It's just they're doing it to make themselves feel better or because it gives them social status in certain groups. But, looking at the Gaza movement, what have they accomplished other than piss people off and actually lose support?
Right.
Like if you look at polling, they've actually lost support. And wherever you stand on that issue, there's just no way you can look at this movement and go like, okay, they've been successful.
The interesting thing about it is I've been speaking to Jewish folks and others. Everybody basically stand on the same side with what Netanyahu's doing. I don't want to get this on a Netanyahu conversation because this is deeper than that. But the problem is exactly because folks have to perform, we can't get to where the truth really lies.
And if you're smart about this, calling Joe Biden, genocide Joe, first of all, you're not building support, you're not doing it, and it's not even accurate. But here's the thing, Bibi wants Joe Biden to lose.
Yes.
Joe Biden has no power because whatever Joe Biden wants to happen, which is a ceasefire, Bibi's like, no, because that's going to help Joe Biden. And I want Donald Trump to win. Donald Trump will go in and help bomb Gaza. Right. So it's this lack of strategy and thinking. Okay, there's ways to pressure Joe Biden on aid to Israel and things like that aren't destructive. And don't turn off the conversation. Don't lose support. So this is sort of illustrates that notion where, so if you're a middle of the road Democrat again, you're seeing these Gaza protests shutting down campuses and yelling at Jewish students walking by, and they're turned off, they're repulsed. And they think that's what the left is. And then they look at the right and they're fascists.
Right.
And then they look at the system and it's fucking broken. Yeah. And they're like, what do we do? And some of them just tap out. Yeah. Instead of building that broader support. So this is what I sort of want to get back to is and it's a two-part test. I'm going to test drive this because I'm writing a book on this and I'm test driving this idea.
And don't forget, when you write that book, you got to come on.
It's a bumper. I got it down to a bumper sticker. Yeah. Right? Here it goes. Number one, if you have public support, do politics. Okay. If you don't have public support, do advocacy. Right. That's simple.
Yeah. Well, people have to define what advocacy is, though, because some people are going to look at advocacy and say, I'm protesting because I'm advocating this.
To get to number one, you need public support.
Yeah. And to anything, you need public support. Yeah.
So if you are going to effect change, you need to win the battle of public opinion. And that means being persuasive. So if you're doing advocacy and you're being destructive and turning people against you, you're never going to get to number one.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge is how are you smart? And sometimes it takes time. It took the conservative movement 50 years to get rid of Wade, right? And a lot of people are impatient and they think, we want a revolution. And Alberto, I don't know about you. I came from El Salvador and
Yo soy de Panamá, tú sabes eso.
To me, revolution is literally, it's my trauma. It's my childhood trauma. And revolutions are fucking awful. Yes. And they have more guns than we do. So this notion
a lot more guns.
That we're going to win, if there's a revolution, that we're going to win it, odds are they're going to win it. They have the Supreme Court. They have all the courts, actually, pretty much all the courts. And they have all the guns, and they are violent.
It's not the revolution that I fear, because when people have different definitions of revolution, what I do want to see is I do want to see progressives working together. And what I continuously find is that everybody decides to be factionalized. And it's interesting because the factionalization makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
In the promotion that I do, it's interesting because my faction is really just about every damn person that wants to come in and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, I heard you talking to somebody and they mentioned, like, you know, people are scared of disagreeing. We ought to start teaching that disagreement doesn't really mean the end of the world.
You have people on the left to talk. They need their safe space to talk about difficult
Wait, so do you have the same thoughts that I have on safe? I don't like safe spaces.
Either you engage in a conversation, in a debate,
Right.
and fight for what you believe in, or here's the radical part:
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
But you can't sit there and say, I'm going to yell these things that I want, but don't you dare disagree with me.
I didn't realize that you also thought that way. Let me tell you, this is interesting
Again,
because
how are you building public support?
let me tell you this. Okay, I go out on the road and I talk about I don't want safe spaces, right? And we even come to the conference here, and there are safe spaces that I don't go to. And one of the reasons why is I don't believe. I think safe spaces is no different than segregation. Okay, that's how I look at safe spaces, right? In other words, the only way for you to really engage is to be outside of your frame.
Either be out there fighting for what you believe in, or you don't have to.
If you don't want to fight,
I'm cool. I'm not saying you have to.
Right.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
Right? You can't be saying I'm fighting for these things, but don't you dare, come into my safe space. And
right.
And those are the things that people sort of in that mushy middle, because they're not fully engaged,
Yeah.
But we need them.
Right.
We need them to win these battles. And they look over there and they're turned off by that. They're scared by it, right? And because they're like, oh, I don't want to intrude in somebody, and I don't want to cause harm, right? There's a lot of it causes harm.
Right.
You know what? Life is fucking harmful.
Yes.
And
yeah.
with Donald Trump,
it'll be even worse. Yeah.
It is there's a lot of fucking harm, and it's okay.
People don't understand, and I think, and I noticed that you're starting to push it on the site as well as things like the things that we need to take seriously. Project 2025 is real. And not only Project 25, but the powers that the Supreme Court has afforded itself is real. And the unitary presidency is real. All these things are real.
Real battles. Man.
The problem is we have had a hard time explaining this to people in a manner that they understand. The person that's coming home from work tired, it is hard to get to these people. What personally on my platform that I'm trying to do is to reach these folks by first developing this stuff called, it's an old-fashioned thing called trust.
Ooh,
weird. Trust.
Okay.
And interestingly, it's that. But
so yelling at them is the way you create trust?
No. The interesting thing about it is, you hear my conversations on the radio. That's what we're building. We're trying to build it. I don't like what you're saying, but I like you. So the other thing I would tell people is
curiosity.
Exactly. I'm curious and I like you. Mm-hmm. In other words, people will stay with you if they like you.
Curiosity.
And if they like you, it's great. You know. But anyway, Markos, we've been here talking for a few minutes. What else is up for you for the next few?
Oh my God, we got to beat Donald Trump. That's what's going up.
Yes, we going.
And there has to be a realization. I mean, right? Every day that we're talking about Joe Biden, it's one day we're not talking about Donald Trump.
Agreed.
Project 2025 finally went viral.
Right.
More Google searches and Taylor Swift.
Than Taylor Swift.
And Democrats want to talk about Joe Biden, who's our freaking nominee.
Yes.
And there is no magical pony candidate that can come in and do better because we are polarized. And here's a dirty secret.
Yeah.
Nobody in 2020 voted for Joe Biden.
Right.
I don't remember anybody being like, fuck yeah, Joe Biden, can't wait to vote for that guy. They voted against Donald Trump.
Now, here's where I don't know if we may disagree or not, but I simply don't have the answer. And what I mean by that is I am concerned of two things. Come October or November, a guy 81 years old that does look a bit different may get a stroke, may do that. What do we do then?
Yeah, that's where Kamala Harris comes in.
Okay.
I mean, there is no mechanism right now to really swap him out. There's legally.
He cannot be swapped out. Yeah. We got that. Right.
And so harping on this, and we swap him out. We have a 2-month battle within the Democratic Party over who the person is.
I don't want to swap.
And no, but I get it. Nobody's conservatives aren't happy with Donald Trump as their nominee.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that as well. Like nobody's happy. That's why everybody's in such a shit mood.
Right.
And they all have great reason because, God damn it, these are not too great. But nobody voted for Joe Biden in 2020, and nobody's voting for him this time. They're voting against Donald Trump. And if we've learned anything this year, is in India, you had Modi's party pulling ahead of what their final results. He lost seats.
But the kicker is France.
Then it happened in Poland.
Yeah.
With Duda's party.
We got it back,
Poland said that the ruling party, and they had the whole media apparatus.
Yeah.
People decided no. It happened in the UK, where the polling was actually more active.
The UK was for good.
Yeah, and then now
France was the issue. The France is nobody believed what happened in the second round.
People do not want fascists.
Yeah.
And this is not an international component. Donald Trump underperformed his polling in the primary in every single contested primary. He polled better than he actually performed. The Republicans polled better in 2022. When I was saying Democrats are going to win this election, Republicans were polling better. Everybody's talking about red wave. Democrats won the midterm election.
Well, if you want to hear something, Markos, is this, right? I've been printing, and you could see a few articles that I wrote on your site. We are really headed for a Democratic landslide unless we screw it up. Because they've given us, they have honestly, I don't know, I speak to a lot of conservatives. They've given us a platform for a landslide. Only we can screw it up. And people don't, you look at they have given us a platform. The pathway.
If our people turn out the way they've been turning out in special elections,
think about that.
In 2022, the way they turned out in France, Poland, India,
landslide.
In the UK, if they turn out in that way, I'm not gonna say landslide. That's a little vicious, but we're gonna win this thing.
You know, Markos.
And we gotta do the work.
Look, listen to this. Biden won by 7 million votes and lost, and could have lost with 40,000 votes change. I think we should be able to. 40,000 votes could have changed the election worse than what Hillary Clinton lost by. But anyway, look. So you're upcoming. You come in with a new book coming out.
I'm working on a book for me.
Yes.
Because I've been thinking through what happens in 2025.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a media apocalypse. People are going to tune out.
Right.
So what happens? What is that new way of thinking? That's not Marjorie Taylor Greene said something stupid today. Yeah. And ha, look at Lauren Boebert. And she's so stupid. And get into something that's a little more substantive. Here's a crazy. Okay. Yeah. Here's a quiz. Quiz. You ready?
Ready to go.
There is one bill in all of Congress that would cap credit card interest rates at 18%.
Right.
So right now it goes up to 35%.
Right.
It's a regressive tax on the poor. There's one person that has a bill to cap interest rates at 18%. It's not Bernie Sanders, not Elizabeth Warren, it's not Sherrod Brown, it's not AOC.
It's a Republican.
It's Josh fucking Hawley.
That's what I just said. It's a Republican.
Not only a Republican,
but a MAGA insurrectionist. Yeah.
First of all, that's kind of embarrassing. Why aren't?
Well, I don't. Wait a minute. You have the answer. You know what that is. Yeah.
So what happens next year if we say, you know what? Let's work with Josh Hawley and let's make this thing pass. Right now, I think Daily Kos would absolutely
explode.
They would have a rebellion.
Yes.
If I said, let's work with that. Because it's like, no, we're not going to work with an insurrectionist. But you know what? He can go nowhere. He's one of 100. He's in the Senate. What if we get his vote?
The truth of the matter...
What if we make that path? That would help millions of people in fuck Wall Street.
But you know what? That's enough people, even on your site, you put something like that and you get slaughtered.
And because I haven't made that argument yet. And I haven't really explained why it makes sense to do that. Well, because the old me, and this is partly we're teams.
Yeah.
It's us versus them. What if we now say, okay, we had that, now we have parity and everything's broken, nothing's working. How about we change the way we do things? And fuck that guy. But in this case, maybe not fuck that guy.
Well, you know what?
Just in this case, we won't.
It is your site, so you would get more attention and people would listen more. But every time I bring up something that is counterintuitive, that somehow saves me a little bit on the side, I'm slaughtered.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you that.
And I will say that I do have more of a platform. And I haven't really used it in the past.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm planning on using it, which is why I'm working on this book, because I want to really nail my thinking down. because it is a lot easier to go on a limb and say something unpopular if you're very grounded in that belief, as opposed to like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is like, I am going to be I need to be fully grounded and ready to go into that battle, because I'm going to have to wear like fire retardant suit. And like a bomb, you know.
Well, actually, it'll actually bring in. I personally think taking that stance and getting it like what I do is I like to take articles from other folks and expand on it, even in the other platforms that I partake in. Right, I think it'll actually change a tone, because I think a tone change is really tone change is definitely needed, and people need to understand, like, think. Just use your mind. Don't just come out and, because this is a party line, use your head.
That's the hope. And really, I just think of all the people that would be helped with an 18% cap on
yes,
and how it would fuck the Wall Street banks. And like, who, and what, you would say no to that because Josh Hawley?
You shouldn't.
He ain't going nowhere.
You shouldn't say that.
He ain't going nowhere.
You shouldn't say
you know
that.
what? Election time, great. Let's run a candidate against him. Let's try to beat him. But he's not going anywhere.
Markos Moulitsas, el director, el público, el señor Daily Kos. Thank you, my brother.
Man, appreciate you.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for everything.
All right, take care, man.
Yeah.
All right, that is the publisher, owner, author of Daily Kos. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I have the hell did I get banned? Who banned you? Daniel Price? I got his editor banned me for a week. Well, they didn't ban me. They stopped me from printing because, again, I said something on Israel that was the truth, and his editor didn't quite like it. Anyway, folks, let me tell you. The other article you can read at the Daily Kos that I was going to cover today, it was the Project 2025, as insisted by everybody. We're going to cover some Project 2025 every day. Daniel Price says some of my messages weren't showing up. Thought I got blocked. No, you don't get blocked from Politics Done Right. Ask Vrij MCP. We love everybody here. All right. Did I miss anything important? Well, everything you guys write is important, but what I mean, did I miss something that needed to be said? I don't know. I don't see anything. I'm scrolling up. Please, everybody. Al Rose, mi panameño favorito, ¿cómo estás? ¿Aún estás en el chat? Dime si aún estás aquí, el señor Rose. Let's see. Al Rose is my brother from Panama. I think, where are you, Al? You're in Georgia, right? Anyhow, let's go ahead and get Vrij in. My dear, beautiful Vrij MCP, talk to me.
I'm sorry it's late, but I just wanted to tell you this. Remember the other day I said that I think it's more males versus females that wanted Biden to drop out?
Yes.
Okay, so I put a poll out on my group, not my group, but I'm one of the admins. And I put the question, who would you vote for? And I put Biden, Harris, this. I put like three things. And so far, I haven't finished the statistics yet. But so far, it's more male want Biden to drop out than female. They're still voting, so it's been 2 days. You have to remember we have almost 37,000 people with a daily post of like 23,000. It's
nice.
Like ridiculous. It's I know, it's crazy. It's just crazy. There's like 2,000 posts a day. It's really hard to monitor and keep everything straight. So I just wanted to tell you that when I get those stats, I'll let you know, because I'm very curious about that, because it seems, in fact, the guy that created the group is so down on Biden. And he keeps saying, stop. And he's like, I'm going into depressive state. I'm like, well, take a med, take a drink, stop it.
I want folks to realize I am not down on Biden. I am up on how the hell do we win, and look, I don't know. I don't have the answers, right? And I don't know what's best or whatever. But the truth of, I'm going to ask you to do something, Vrij. Maybe you can text me about it if you see it. I want you to look at Biden going up the plane with him going upstairs on the airplane after they said he had COVID. And then I also want you to look at him at the previous photo about a couple of weeks, the same stairs with him going up before COVID. Okay? It concerns me.
Okay.
It concerns me.
It does.
And
His age
yeah,
is an issue. He
yes,
looks dead. I mean, he
right.
really does. But
And
I just thought it was really important to find out why more men, is it their vitality in the future? I don't know.
right.
That they seem to be more down than women do. So I was curious. So I made a
Y-
poll.
Yeah, well,
So
I
I
mean,
just
and
want
let me
to
know the
let you
result
know
of the
when I
poll.
get
And
done.
when you have the poll, we're going to do an interview if it's okay with you. And I mean a video interview because I want your face, girl.
Oh, brother, you don't want my face.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that.
All right, we'll talk. Have a good one. Take care. All
You
right.
have a
All right, folks, let's go ahead and remember, please support the program. I'm only going to have time to ask for one thing here. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And I ask you so kindly to become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. If you become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, there are some benefits that come with it. All my books you get to read online. All my books you read online. In other words, you don't have to buy the books, and the books are worth reading. So please go ahead and consider becoming a paid subscriber. It's only a coffee a month. Look, I know you guys wouldn't mind getting politics done right. One coffee a month, one coffee a month, to go ahead and say, I want to support this stuff, that I want to give back to this stuff to help us continue to do this. And what do? We throw so much progressive, truthful information into the internet space and otherwise, so that when people start searching for truth, we don't get the lies solely from the right. That's what our stuff is, not just for what you see here on the screen or what you see. It's the TikTok that we do, it's the Instagram that we do, it's all these things that we do to populate the space, so that those people that are searching for truth, when they don't only come with right-wing stuff. We make sure they can get factual information. So please go to politicsdoneright.com slash Bree says, sell a mug, Egberto. Yeah, I need to sell a mug too. So go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. And Breach wants me to sell a mug. I should tell you how to get to our mugs, and that is to go to, let me get the link to the store, because that is the way you can get to our mugs. If I can pull up the store, if I can find the store. Bear with me 1 second. I'm looking for the store. All right. And this is how you find the mugs, right here. All right. And I'm going to let me see if I can get the mugs on the screen. Vamos, hermano. Vamos a ver. This is what our swag look like, folks. Let me put the swag on the screen. And there's a swag, and I put the store in there. And you see, you can get our mugs or hats or T-shirts, all that good stuff from Politics Done Right. So there you go. Thanks for showing all the mug. And by the way, I want to let everybody know. You see that mug there that I running the cursor on? Guess who designed that mug? Bridge MCP designed that mug. So there you go. We are a team here. Everybody partakes in this stuff. So go to politicsdoneright.com/store if you want any of our swag, or go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter to support our program. Look, thank you so kindly, folks. Love you all. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us